Hey guys, welcome to my video for a coverage of a buyer's guide for building a mock. Useful tips and tricks that you might utilise to lower the price of either building an old retired set, parting it out to Bricklink. We're also going to cover how to utilise a Brick Hunter Chrome extension, which enables some features that have been recently added to the Pick a Brick LEGO website, but they're not always the best method. We're also going to cover how to look at a set, how to part it out, and so on and so forth. Okay, before I begin, I'd just like you to take a minute to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and give us your feedback in the comments, please. Gives us an idea of what you want to see from us. Anyway, coming up quickly, I will break this video down into parts on how to price an item and so on and so forth. Okay, here we go. Right, so for the purpose of this video and for my own personal collection, we're going to look at the breakdown of the now retired Town Hall Modular. So this is quite a hard modular to get your hands on, as most people actually know. It's not the easiest one to get, it's not that affordable, and it runs at quite a high price. Now, when it first came out, yes, it only retailed at £199, but it is quite a big modular. It is quite tall, and now it's retired, it runs at a lot more money than that. So I'm going to look at the different ways that you can go about sourcing this. So obviously, you've got the first option, which most people know about, which is heading on over to eBay, purchasing it, and so on and so forth. So, like most things, we head on over to eBay and we type in the search engine. In this case, I've typed in LEGO Modular Town Hall. And as you can see from the listings that are available, I'm in the UK and these are the options I have. So you've got a couple of fake listings. By fake, I mean off-brand, I mean Chinese, I mean non-branded Lego bricks. And obviously for some people that's okay, they're happy with that. But for me personally, I'm a bit of a purist. So I need the actual set, I need them to be proper Lego pieces. I'm not a box guy. I'm not fussy about the box. Don't really care about it. And do you know what? Even the manual, I can live without that because I can download that from Lego. So it is more about the bricks and the minifigures for me. So as you can see there, that the average sale on it is looking at about 600 UK pounds. And then if we head over onto Bricklink and we look at the set and we see what's available, and you get an idea from there as well, what's available. And you can see that this set is running at you're looking at £500 to purchase this set. And that isn't brand new in box sealed. That is pre-owned. Some signs of wear, some might be even missing pieces at that price. So you are looking at between 400 and 500. What you can do with Bricklink though is you can part out the set, and then add it to your wanted list. And what that'll do is that'll make a copy of all the pieces that you need from the set, and you can add that to your wanted list, and you can build a wanted list with that. And then you can take that and look at what sellers have it and basically get all the parts shipped to you, and get an idea of the price. And basically, some of the tips we're going to cover today are how you can utilize that for yourself. Okay, so here you have the complete listing for the Town Hall with all the minifigures and all the parts that you need to create it. Okay, and if I just click on auto generate and I click on from anywhere, say, or from the UK, so this is from anywhere, and it gives you an idea of what I'd be looking at for the prices. And this would just give me the parts, no book, no box, remember? Now I can download the instructions on Lego's website, that's not a problem. And again, I don't care about the boxes. Yes, I do keep my boxes from my own purchases, but I'm not really that fussed when it comes to buying something pre-owned. And if I can save myself some money without a box, then I will. The other format you do have for finding these sets obviously is stuff like Facebook Marketplace. You can utilize that however you wish. You might find a bargain, you might not. Patience is the game, I will say here. But this is for those that want to get it done, want to do it quite cheaply. So you basically get the file with all the parts, and then you have Bricklink search all of its sellers internationally or within your own country. That's your choice, your preference. If you are international, don't forget shipping fees will be considerably higher, and you might have to pay VAT. It is normally included at the end checkout, so you shouldn't get a customs fee. You should have paid it before it ships to you, which is something good. Okay, so with this particular piece, if we're looking at international, I'd still be looking at having to use about 5 or 6 different sellers, and I'd still be looking at a grand cost of in the region of about 400 at least, £500 at least. So it's not actually that cheap in that sense to part this out and use international. And then even some of those, I don't know what the total cost is because I'd need to wait for them to send me an invoice to tell me what they're going to charge for shipping. But one of the tips and tricks I'm going to show you today is how you take that Bricklink file. Now, recently LEGO did an update on their website where you could transfer files with parts into PAB and then have PAB search for the parts and tell you, and so on and so forth. The problem with that there lies is the file format that Bricklink use doesn't match up with the file format that LEGO Pick a Brick website want you to utilize. So it wasn't all hunky-dory and easy going and smooth. But I do have a bit of a solution here for you. So again, when you're doing your searches, also search within your country, because sometimes it's not cheaper to buy it from abroad. Sometimes it is cheaper to buy it within your country. And as you can see here now, I'm just doing the search within the UK to see if it's cheaper within the UK or not. And sometimes the parts aren't available in the UK, or sometimes they are available and they're cheaper. Germany tends to be one of the cheapest places for Lego parts. Thailand is another one that tends to be quite cheap for Lego parts, and these are regular occurrences. Germany, normally because of the Lego warehouse based in Germany, they can go pick up an awful amount of parts quite easily available to them, whereas we don't have that luxury. And that's something I really wish Lego had sought, so that all Legolands had the same factory function that the Germans have in their store. Okay, so you could then check it as well and see if it's cheaper to buy it within your country or whether it's cheaper to go international. Looking at this one, it actually worked out that neither were particularly cheap, and I'd be looking at sort of £400 to £500 for the town hall set. Well, the town hall set is about £400 to £500 on eBay. So I'm not really saving myself any time or hassle there using Bricklink, which is an odd factor. But you can generate your carts and have a look. Bricklink I do find is really useful for when I'm trying to buy parts for the city. If I'm trying to road parts, all my road parts always come off Bricklink. I know what I need to build roads, so I go on and I go, I want 50 of that, 50 of that, 50 of that, or 100 of that, or 100 of that, and have it sent to me. I do find that really popular colours are more expensive on Bricklink than they are on Pick a Brick. So light grey and dark grey tend to be quite hard and expensive especially in high quantities. On Bricklink, whereas on Pick a Brick, obviously, they're a set price. Okay, so as you work your way through, you can work your way through and see what you would need to import from abroad. In this case, with some of the international ones, there were so many orders that they were below the minimum purchase amount. So I just had a look through and added some useful parts there to get us up to the minimum amount, which meant that the baskets would complete. In most cases, it was another bit of plate, 16 by 12 or something like that, or 16 by 10 plate is quite useful for me as a whole. But also it gives you an idea sometimes. Have a look at what you're paying for some parts. I discovered on this not so long ago that because I needed a 8 by 24 plate in light grey, I was paying about £12 for said plate, whereas I could have just used 3 or 4 smaller light grey plates to make my 80 by 24. It would have been the same. And I wouldn't have had to pay 12, 14, 16 pound or whatever it was for this one particular plate size. So do have a look and see if there's things that you can adjust to make it a lot more affordable. That's quite a common tip. And certain windows in certain modulars are really expensive because they no longer make them, or they have a unique design or something along those lines, and that can really have a price increase within your set. So don't be afraid to have a look at what baskets you've generated and where for, and what price you're paying for what parts, and it gives you a better idea of where to go from there on out. Okay, so once you've gone into all your baskets and you've made sure you're meeting the minimum threshold, again, you don't have to meet the minimum threshold. It's just a personal thing. If I've got small baskets that are meeting the minimal threshold, I'll go along and I'll add some plate or I'll add some tile or something I know I'm going to use. Mrs. Bricks and Pieces often says, "What are you going to do with that?" when I come back from the Lego store with a box of pick a brick, and then it sits upstairs for about a year until one day I go, "Aha, I know what I'm going to do with that." But we'll not talk about masonry brick anyway, because for some reason I have I just can't stop buying masonry brick, even though I don't need it, even though I've got loads of it and I barely use it. Just because I know one day it's not going to be on the pad walls and I'm going to end up paying silly money for masonry brick, and I don't want to go down that route. Anyway, once you've got all your baskets up to your minimum spends, and you can get an idea of what the set's going to cost you if you parted it out on Bricklink. So that's another useful piece. Now, this gives you a couple other options, what you might want to do moving forward, how you might want to play it, and so on and so forth. But it's really up to you what method you decide to use. Me personally, once I've got all the baskets built, and I've got an idea of what the cost, I can decide if I want to go ahead and purchase it from there or not. It's not always the case. I mean, when I was looking at this one on Town Hall, I actually decided that I didn't want to purchase it on Bricklink, because even parting it out, it was still coming up really expensive. And I personally don't really want to pay more than sort of £300 for this modular. That's just a personal thing. It's just the way I am. I'd rather wait and try and snipe eBay auctions and keep waiting, because one day I will get this modular and I will be happy with the price I pay, rather than overpaying and forever looking at it thinking I paid too much for that. I do live with regret like that quite heavily, and yeah, it gets on my nerves quite a lot. So yeah, it's not something I'd carry on doing. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm just going through the baskets. I'm getting up to the minimum spend, because Bricklink sellers can attach terms to their stores, and one of them being that, that it's not worth their time to pick an order that's under £2, £2.50, £3. And you know what? I actually get that. It's quite understandable. I noticed the other day that 1x1 tiles are really expensive, and I sat there going, "Well, why are they so expensive? They're a stupid little part." And then I thought, that's exactly why they're expensive. Because if you want a high number of those, nobody wants to sit there and pick out 200 1x1 tile. Yeah, I was needing some because I'm going to ballast my train, and obviously you need a high amount. And I've got a whole box full of multicoloured 1x1 tile, but I need a lot of grey or I need a lot of brown, and I tend to use my greys and my browns, so I haven't got a lot of those. And and then I looked and I was like, yeah, so that was an order I ended up putting through Pick a Brick rather than through Bricklink, because Bricklink wanted quite a high amount for it, and it's because sellers just don't want to have to sit there and pick me 200 little 1x1 tiles. And you know what, I actually understand that completely, because if it was me and the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think it'd matter how much you were going to pay me. I couldn't be bothered to sit there and pick you 200 1x1 tiles. So we'll let Pick a Brick will do it, who do all their picking with a robot, from what I know and what I understand. So that makes their life a lot easier. Anyway, I digress and I move on from where I should be, and I need to cover some more information for you. So once you've gone through Bricklink and you've parted the set out and you've looked to see if the set's affordable to buy in your country or affordable to buy with a combination maybe of in your country or abroad, like it is here, we've got a combination. The last couple of parts had to come from abroad. And there's the plate I was talking to you about earlier. If you look, I'd be paying something like £14 for a piece of plate that's nowhere near that expensive, and and silly money for just some little bits of plate. So I just looked for some alternatives there and went that route, and that was a good way to go. I mean, it saved me a lot of money. So one of the other options available to you, once you've created your wanted list using Bricklink part out of the set and named it, of course, one of the other options you get is you can head on over to an extension on your Chrome extension, and it's here, and it's called Brick Hunter. Okay, what Brick Hunter will allow you to do is drag the file. So you can, as you can see here, I'm dragging the file over. If I click there on import, I click on file, I open it. So when you've got your file open on Bricklink, you can download it. So I downloaded it as a file onto my computer. Now I've imported it using Brick Hunter. Brick Hunter's importing the file. Now, whereas the pad wall, I have to convert the file normally. Here I don't. It's converting the file for me. Okay, and here you go. Here's my town hall, and I click on it, and it opens it up, and it gives me a breakdown of what parts are available and in what category. What parts are available on bestsellers, what parts are available on standard pad wall, and then what parts I would still need to go to Bricklink for. And I can open it up and I can see what the individual parts are. I can see what price I'm paying for the parts, and I can compare that way. And this gives me a better way to compare the prices across pad wall, because sometimes on Bricklink you find you're paying an awful lot of money for quite a simple part, or it's just not that expensive, or sometimes you might even have it. I mean, on this particular set, a couple of those parts that it's actually saying I'd need to go to Pick a Brick for, I've got some of those upstairs, so I'd be able to just go, no, I've got the two of those that I need. No, I've got the two of those that I need, and so on and so forth. Obviously, there are always some that you're probably going to need to order. The minifigures, some people want them, some people don't. You could import the file without the minifigures and therefore utilize it in that way. But this just gives you the full breakdown of all the parts and where to go. And then it'll even upload those parts into a basket on the pad wall for you. So it gives you an idea. And most of the parts there, I'm looking at about £200. And I'm probably only missing about 50 parts. So in this circumstance with the town hall, actually be a lot cheaper to buy it direct from Lego. Then I also get points and I get a gift with purchase. So when it comes to building my town hall, it looks like it's going to be a pick a brick order. Because I'm afraid Bricklink in this circumstance, you're more expensive. And I just click and add to basket, and then the other miscellaneous pieces, I go back to my Brick Hunter and I upload those on Bricklink and make a file with those in. I think it was about 50 parts I was missing. Give you an idea. And you get points in GWP as well on Pick a Brick when you order that through Lego. So that's a nice little added bonus. The parts will arrive. It'd be a lot slower, not gonna lie. Apple's much slower than than Bricklink. Like Bricklink orders you normally get within a couple of days, whereas a pad wall, fortunately, you can be waiting a good month. It's supposedly 9 working days, but I'll be honest, lately, especially at the start of the year, so just after Christmas, you get an influx. They get really backed up at Christmas and still to this day think they do it to themselves because they release so many sets on January the 3rd. And I think they should just calm down and release those in February or March and space it out a bit more. But no, they hit us hard in January every year when we really don't need it in our wallets. Like you get the Lego City, pretty much the whole range for the year comes out on January the 1st, which is just madness, if you ask me. Absolute madness. Just move it to February each year where those sets are released. But no, they won't. They like to do their own thing. They like to do it their own way. You can feed back to Lego what you think. But in terms of stuff like that, I can't imagine they'd change for you. Anyway, you can see the breakdown here of the parts that are available for me and the quantities, and that's all loaded. I've not had to do anything really. The hard work's all done for me. So the Chrome extension, don't forget, is called Brick Hunter. And that will just compare all the parts for you, and it'll upload them onto the Pick a Brick wall for you, and so on and such. And it just makes your life a lot easier. So it's definitely worth checking out. If I were you, I'd upload that Chrome extension and get it running. And then you can just work out what you need. And in this case, it's the town hall, but in your case, it might be a different build or anything. I'm a city builder. I'm currently in the process of building our city. So modulars, especially the older ones that I've missed out on, are prime for me. They're things I need. All right.